Howdy hi, YouTube world. It's Lou. I'm back with another episode of Lou's House of Tunes. Quick gear review. What are we doing today, guys? Ooh, this is exciting. Oh, it's beautiful. Whoa, what do we have here? Guys, what is this? It's the Fender made in Japan traditional 60s Jazzmaster in incredible blue flower. Ooh, look at that, boys and girls. We've got blue and green and purple and sparklies, and there's a sparkly silver flower. Oh, and if you guys look real close, this blue has a nice little sparkle to it, just a tiny little sparkle within the paint job. Now, what kind of specs do we have on this? We got a rosewood fingerboard. It's a nice dark rosewood. We've got a 7.25 radius, sticking with that traditional 60s. Okay, we've got our truss rod adjustment at the heel of the neck here, boys and girls. Okay, we don't have a skunk stripe on the maple neck, okay. We've got our serial number and crafted in Japan. This one actually says made in Japan. Okay, this is a 2018. It's got a cool serial number. And this was a limited run that they did. Okay, take another look before I strap her on. We've got a nice synchronized floating tremolo unit with the original bridge, which I will get to in the review. We've got our Jazzmaster pickups, not P90s. I know most people know that these are different, but they are different than a P90, although they look very similar. Okay, we've got up top here our two roller wheels and a little switch that goes between. See this switch here? Yes. When it's in the top position, the roller wheels are active and it's a volume and tone for our rhythm channel. And we only have the neck pickup, boys and girls, in that switch position up top. Okay, when we switch her down now to the lead channel, we've got our volume and tone knob and our three-way selector, which I have in the middle position, which is hum canceling. Yes. So that is our setup, boys and girls, and we've got our tremolo arm. Okay, look at that thing. And I've done a little special mojo personally on this tremolo arm. As you can see, it falls slowly. It's not something you're accustomed to seeing. That's a Lou Maverick mod right there, okay? It's a beautiful thing. I'm not going to give away my secret on that. Okay? But that's alright, boys and girls. Because we are going to give this thing a rundown. Now, came out in blue flower and pink paisley. I don't know how many were in the run, okay, of this guitar set, but it is FSR, Fender Special Run, and it is a limited edition out of Japan. You didn't see a lot of hype on these bad boys, okay, but I'm here to tell you, it's a good guitar. Now, Lou Mav had one of these back in the early 2000s, which was a 62 reissue. Okay, that sucker was American-made 62 reissue. It was fantastic. I don't know. This might be better. I've played it longer. I had that one about a year, probably a little longer. It had more issues than this. It had a little more issue out of the box, brand new from Guitar Center, Hollywood. It had an issue with this little locker and it needed to be set up, which I learned later on YouTube. We didn't have YouTube back then. I learned how this is supposed to be properly set up. However, this one out of the box, better set up from Japan. Not long after I had my American-made one, okay, and I didn't realize what was happening. One of these roller wheels, these screws were getting loose somehow, but you couldn't see it through the pick guard, and it was dropping down, so I had to detach it and screw that back in when I figured out what was going on. but there was also some looseness within here. I had to make some adjustments, and this one I did not have that issue with. However, boys and girls, you may notice now this has been modded slightly visually. We have the mint green pickguard that I put on it. Now, I've got the original. What inspired me on the mint green, it wasn't the plan out of the box, okay? I was excited, I liked the color, but as I had it, I was, browsing on the internet, Reverb, and then even Googling some images of these Blue Flower guitars, because I've always loved these. There was a guitar shop in Santa Barbara Music in the early 90s, and they carried the Strats and the Tellys in Blue Flower. They had the maple neck, the crafted in Japan, and I always loved them, and I'd check them out, and they seemed like good guitars, and they excited me. They were beautiful. To me, a guitar is like a functional piece of artwork, okay? And it's an instrument, it's a beautiful thing, and we get excited, us guitarists, for our beauty. But here's the original pickguard, just to give you a look. It's kind of cool. It's got like a blue burst, clear, and then this has the print on it, all right? And it's also the shield. I shielded the mint green one I got here. Now, on the internet, I was getting to my story, Wildwood Guitars, they had some Strats from Fender Custom Shop that were Blue Flower with the rosewood. Now this is, you don't see the Blue Flower with rosewood much. You can find some rare examples on the internet, and you don't really see you do see a Blue Flower Jazzmaster. It's very rare, and it has this printed on the top of the pickguard, okay, which is different than this style that you've got your shield and then a plastic pickguard on top. Now, this plastic pickguard, which I don't like about this style pickguard, along with, say, your 50's one ply, it's sharp on the edge. And I don't really care for that. I prefer the beveled of the multi-ply pickguards, just for feel. Over the years, you don't have that sharp edge on them. It's just a nice soft, when you're playing, and if you hit it with your hand, it's just nice and soft. Anyway, this was too busy for me, I thought, overall, and these Wildwood Customs out of the Fender Custom Shop were just really a turn on, and I was like, wow, those are beautiful. And I'm like, they had a white pickguard though on the blue, and it was a like Journeyman Relic style Custom Shop, and it looked really nice with the rosewood, and I'm like, ooh, but what if I did a mint green, because who doesn't love a mint green pickguard? And then you've got the green flowers in this. It's really fantastic. Look at that. It's beautiful, green flowers. You see, my favorite colors are in this. You got purple, green, blue. You've got some silver sparkle. That's always nice. Okay, so what else about this? Now, people have issues with these with the bridge, okay? But I'm gonna say, because I had that issue too, it was shipped with 9s. I left the 9s on it for a minute, and it was unstable, and my tuning method, I pull up a little on my strings, on my Strats, Tellys over the years, whatever, acoustics. Each string before I tune, I have a very distinctive tuning method that also, when using different tremolos, either on the Stratocaster or the Jazzmaster, there's a certain way of tuning it. And I believe it was the Edge's Guitar Tech on one of the rig rundowns, touched on this really briefly. It's in how you tune it as you set it up. It could have been AC/DC's dude. I don't think it was, though. I think it was the Edge's Guitar Tech. Anyhow, as far as Jazzmaster history goes, I'm going to say my personal history, I've played this more than the 62 reissue American. Now, the biggest difference that I've found in the guitars really is the finish, the polyurethane on the Japanese versus the nitrocellulose lacquer on the American. And you're going to have your cloth pickups. The pickups are going to be different. Now, the electronics in these, I did a cool little mod on mine that the Fender Custom Shop YouTube channel about 6 months ago did a run of their current custom shop models, and one of them was a black paisley Jazzmaster, and it was beautiful and it sounded fantastic. And one of the little mods that they had done in the custom shop was they changed these 1 meg pots that this has normally, traditionally, okay, whereas Strats have 250K normally. They changed the 1K in this over to 250K, like a Strat would have for the volume and the tone. And in the demo and the video, it was like, ooh, that does sound nice. And mine at the time, I'd been playing it a lot, and with that 1 meg pot, you know, the tone, it was very limited. I'd have to roll off my volume to get any, it was very spiky, and the tone control had a very narrow range of usability between maybe 3 and 4 in any of the pickup selected positions on the lead channel. I was having that issue. It was just very spiky, way too much high spike on the high end, and I just wasn't getting the tone. It was just not a very usable range on that tone knob. Now, as soon as I did this little mod, $10 mod, I got the 250K pots, swapped them out. Now the Japanese, it came with the same CTS branded pots, okay, for the 1 megs, and they seem to be the exact same quality as the ones I bought, which, you know, were CTS pots for this 250K. So I am really pleased with the mod. I'm going to give you a little, just straight through. I'm going through the Fender Deluxe Reverb, the Bad Cat Cougar 5, and my 61 Gibson Maestro Deluxe Reverb. Just Maestro Reverb, I'm sorry. I've got the reverb going on both the Deluxe and the Maestro, and that's just it. Nothing through the pedal board. This is just a straight tone. Now, in the middle position there, we're on 10. It is a little spiky, you know, it's a little, but it's a way usable range on this tone pot now. I'm really pleased, and for $10 I did a Fender custom shop mod on this, you know, and I couldn't be more pleased with that mod personally, being mainly a Strat lover and player. You know, this mod was fantastic. As my rig is set up, I'm mainly playing the Strats. This is definitely like number 3 guitar, you know, sometimes battling for 2. I've played it more than that 62 reissue, and I would say it is of as good a quality. You know, the pickups are not going to probably be sounding as good as some cloth-covered wire that's thicker gauge wire. The American wound, American made pickups, probably going to sound better. It sounds great though with that little mod I did. Now, speaking of mods, I'm going to do another mod on this guitar, and you're going to have to stay tuned. It's a cliffhanger. It's going to be a bigger mod. Now, those are the only mods I've done. I've done this little tiny mod to make this tremolo arm do what it's doing here that I really dig. Because when you're playing, say you want to have a little, and I have great tuning stability, this thing stays in tune, fantastic bone nut. Okay, it's got the 7.25 radius. It's got a very similar neck profile. It's a C shape, very similar to my 62 reissue Stratocaster, but it's beefier. So it's got the vintage specs. One thing I've noticed with these Japanese Jazzmasters is the little original offset body sticker up here is closer to the little scroll on the end of the Jazzmaster graphic. Okay, it's all one piece on the Waterslide logo here. I don't know if you can see that, but traditionally in the American ones it's a little farther out on the headstock, a little farther away from the scroll. But I couldn't be happier with this. It's a fine quality instrument. I've owned one other brand new Japanese made Fender, which was a Jaguar Baritone Custom in the mid 2000s. It was a fantastic guitar. I sold it to a buddy of mine. decent price back then, but it's worth more now on reverb than they were when I bought them. Fantastic though. If you have a Jaguar Baritone Custom, either sell it cheap to me or keep it, and it's fantastic. No, that was a great guitar, but the quality of these Japanese Fenders is fantastic. I have a great Mexican-made Fender Strat here that's the Jimmy Vaughn that I've done a few little mods on, that is in competition sometimes with the 62 reissue for my #1 guitar. Anyhow, back to the Jazzmaster review. Okay, here's our, we're going to go through some tones real quick here. Let me say that no one really inspired me much to play the Jazzmaster as an artist. I'm not like, oh, I have to have that guitar because this cat plays it or that cat plays it. No, it's, if anybody, Jimi Hendrix in the few pictures, he had one that looked just like that 62 reissue I had, and that's awesome. Jimmy is always an inspiration as a guitarist to most of us that are heavy guitarists, I think, out there that have been around a while. You gotta love Jimmy. Anyway, Dino Jr. is another thing. Anyway, the Mastery Bridge, let me just say something really quick. A lot of people want to just switch these out to Mastery because of the tuning issues, or it's really the slots and the string will pop out when you get heavy, and you know, that's not really as much my style, and I've played some good palm muting heavy metalish type stuff almost on this, and I haven't had that problem. Again, back to with the 9s though, it was shipped with 9s. If you watch 5 Watt World, Keith, the YouTube channel 5 Watt World, does a great Jazzmaster, short history of the Jazzmaster, and there's a lot of great history in that. The one thing I really got off him though that stuck with me was that when Leo Fender designed these, it was mainly designed to be used with 12s, because at the time that's what these cats were using, was 12s. And I'm like, well, that makes total sense then, because as soon as I went from 9s to 10s, it kind of fixed this stability issue for me. If you're not way heavy-handed, and I even thought, well, maybe I'll even go to 11s just to make it more, you know, stable at that. But then again, we're gonna look at my mod coming up on the next video on this thing. But back again, I think going just to the 10s, which I did before I even saw Keith's 5 Watt World Jazzmaster video, then it clicked when he said that. I'm like, oh yeah, that makes total sense, because when I went from 9s to 10s, it just increased that stability of this bridge. And I think it's fantastic, and this thing stays in tune great. It's not the same action in any means as a Fender. It's totally designed different with the spring system, and it's more akin to, say, a Gretsch, where you like a Bigsby with the action of it, just being really smooth and not a big throw with the range. And I like how it's closer to the strings than on a Strat. It's fantastic. Okay, we've got alder body. Let's see, what else can I tell you about this? I kind of went over the circuit with you guys. I think the trem works great. I don't think you need the Mastery Bridge if you go with a heavier gauge string. I would recommend that. And, you know, it's got a 25.5-inch scale. Your traditional, similar to the Strat. Some people at times are under the impression that this has a longer scale than a Strat. No, it is a bigger guitar than the Strat though, with the body, the way it's offset. If you set it next to the Strat, it sits a lot higher. The headstock is very similar to the Stratocaster, the 60 style Strat. However, it's bigger. It's not as big as, say, your 70s headstocks or your 60s, you know, and 70s headstocks that are known to be the big headstock. But it's fantastic. This is a great guitar overall. Now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to go through, I made a little backing track. I'm going to give you just a little straight through again. was the lead channel. Let's do the rhythm channel. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and throw the backing track on and just run through some of my effects. I'll try to pop up some little blurbs on the effects, what I'm using as I go here. And this is through the Roland JDXI, just a real basic drum track with a little funky analog synth bass. Hey, alright, well, I hope you enjoyed this review and demo of the Made in Japan FSR 60s traditional Jazzmaster in blue flower. My final thoughts on this mug are it's a fantastic guitar, and I think I'm one of the few cats that has one just like it with the mint green Fender, the Lou Mav signature right here, baby. Come on. If you like, hit like and subscribe. I hope you dug it, and I hope to see you again on the next episode of Lou's House of Tunes. Probably going to review a couple more guitars before I get to the next review on this. Of the new mod I'm gonna do on this bad boy, and I'm excited for it and a little nervous, but I think it's gonna turn out great. So if you're excited to see what I'm gonna do to this bad boy, stay tuned for the cliffhanger, Lou's House of Tunes.